So I was gonna pick up where I left off earlier from chapter 3 is opportunity monopolized from the science of getting rich. If the workers of America choose to do so, they could follow the example of their brothers in Belgium and other countries and establish great department stores and cooperative industries. They could elect men of their own class to office and pass laws favoring the development of such cooperative industries. In a few years, they could take peaceful possession of the industrial field. And here we have a reflection. Needless to say, this hasn't happened on any major scale at this point. However, it has happened for country or for countless people and families on an individual basis. Those who took this information to heart and follow through have been able to lift themselves from poverty and mediocrity and create the abundance they desired. So, that reflection is kind of a reminder that of why people flock from other countries to come to America. The American dream, so to speak, even if it might be seen as dead. You can come here and, there's countless opportunities if you just pursue them. But not everyone's willing to put in the effort it takes to pursue certain opportunities. The working class may become the master class whenever they will begin to do things in a certain way. The law of wealth is the same for them as it is for all others. This, this they must learn, and they will remain where they are as long as they continue to do as they do. The individual worker, however, is not held down by the ignorance or the mental slothfulness of his class. He can follow the tide of opportunity to riches, and this book will teach him how. No one is kept in poverty by a shortness in the supply of riches. There is more than enough for all. A place as large as the Capitol at Washington might be built for every family on Earth from the building materials in the United States alone. And under intensive cultivation, this country would produce wool, cotton, linen, and silk enough to clothe each person in the world finer than Solomon was arrayed in all of his glory, together with food enough to feed them all luxuriously. This visible supply is practically inexhaustible, and the invisible supply really is inexhaustible. And then in the box it says, read this out loud. Everything you see on earth is made from the original substance out of which all things proceed. New forms are constantly being made and older ones are dissolving, but all are shapes assumed by one thing. There is no limit to supply of formless stuff or original substance. The universe is made out of it, but it was not all used in making the universe. The spaces in, through, and between the forms of the visible universe are permeated and filled with the original substance, with the formless stuff, with the raw material of all things. 10,000 times as much as has been made might still be made, and even then we should not have exhausted the supply of universal raw material. No man, therefore, is poor because nature is poor, or because there is not enough to go around. And we have another gray box that says the work. Rather than focusing on the idea that there might not be enough to go around, use that energy to focus your mind on getting all that you require and sharing it with the ones you love. So, again, it's, that reminder to switch from lack and scarcity to abundance and prosperity. If you think, limiting beliefs that there's not enough to go around, then you'll continue to find reasons why, and you'll continue to find circumstances that, prove you right. Whereas if you, instead of thinking from lack, you think from, abundance and prosperity, you'll see there's more than enough to go around everywhere, and circumstances will prove you right, and you'll continue to find more than enough, so much so that your cup will be overflowing, and you'll be sharing with other people. Nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will never run short. Original substance is alive with creative energy and is constantly producing more forms. When the supply of building material is exhausted, more will be produced. When the soil is exhausted so that foodstuff and materials for clothing will no longer grow upon it, it will be renewed or more soil will be made. When all the gold and silver has been dug from the earth, if man is still in such a stage of social development that he needs gold and silver, more will be produced from the formless. The formless stuff responds to the need of man. It will not let him be without any good thing. This is true of man collectively. The race as a whole is always abundantly rich, and if individuals are poor, it is because they do not follow the certain way of doing things, which makes the individual man poor. The formless substance is intelligent. It is stuff which thinks, it is alive, and is always impelled towards more life. It is the natural and inherent impulse of life to seek to live more. It is the natural nature of intelligence to enlarge itself and of consciousness to seek to extend its boundaries and find fuller expression. The universe of forms has been made by formless living substance, throwing itself into form in order to express itself more fully. The universe is a great living presence, always moving inherently towards more life and fuller functioning. Nature is formed for the advancement of life. It is impelling motive is the increase of life. For this cause, everything which can possibly minister to life is bountifully provided. There can be no lack unless God is to contradict himself and nullify his own works. And then we have a meditation box. The best example of this is babies. They are created, people choose to create new life, and new life grows, a fact no one can deny. Riches works the same way. All that is required is a seed, and the seed is your thought, warranted with your belief, nourished with the sunshine of your actions. You are not kept poor by lack in the supply of riches. It is fact which I shall demonstrate a little farther on, that even the resources of this formless supply are at the command of man or woman will act and think in a certain way. And then at the end of the chapter is an exercise with some space to write if you choose to write in the book instead of in a notebook. Make a list of industries, products, services, and inventions that didn't exist when I was a child. So that exercise from the end of chapter 3 is certainly a great reminder of, you know, the development in your lifetime that, you know, we are ever evolving and there's more opportunities out there for those who are creative enough to think of new inventions or ways of tweaking existing things to improve or make better products and services. So hopefully you found some value in this and keep checking back for some more The Science of Getting Rich. Thanks and have a good day.